Hello, beautiful people, tribe of many colors. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. I hope you're doing everything you can to stay in your joy. It's hard. I know it's hard. These are the times that it just seems like it's harder than usual to just stay present, to stay grounded, right? To not get caught up in all the drama on the news, right? To work on your relationships, work on yourself. It's easy for the rat race and the energy of all the external things to kind of pull you in, right? And have you get lost in it. And that's when you forget to meditate. You forget the self-care, your salt baths, your aromatherapy, your walks, okay? Playing with the pets, cleaning up the house. It's easy in chaos to lose the routine that works for you. And so I'm here to remind you, keep doing the routine that works. Add new stuff in, right? Change it up. Don't be too rigid in your self-care, especially with food, okay? Let's tap into that a little bit. I haven't eaten beef in years. It's probably going on probably 10, 12 years I haven't eaten beef. It's not because of a religion. This was purely on my instinct and my guidance to stop eating beef. Because when you heal, you become more sensitive to everything, every single thing. And that's why most people stay away from it, because to go on the healing journey, it opens you up to sensitivity. But there's a good side to that, because when you become very sensitive, you also become sensitive to what's going on in your body. And when I started my healing journey and I started becoming really sensitive in my body, I realized that beef made my body heavy. But it was a pro and con to that, because when I would become too sensitive, I would eat the beef, and it's almost like it numbed me, or it dulled the senses. So that's how I understood how meat eating works to affect the spiritual body and your ability to feel. I used meat to desensitize myself. When all the information and all the downloads and all the spiritual things was just flooding in, and I was like an open channel, I would minimalize and use the meat to dull the senses, so that so much information wouldn't flood in all at once and overwhelm me. And I kind of did that back and forth until when I got a handle on the sensitivity, then I cut out the beef completely. Now, after I cut out the beef, I was doing chicken, turkey, and I did that for a long time. Chicken, turkey. And then there'd be times where I just incorporated more just vegetables and salmon into my diet, and cut out the turkey completely. And then I cut out the chicken completely. And now I was just eating salmon, veggies, all the root vegetables, the dark leaf greeny things, and that was really, really good. Now there's times today, if I'm going through really stressful situations, that I will go back and eat chicken. And the reason I do that is because when you eat a diet of purely vegetables here, and only take this if it resonates. If it's not for you, don't worry about it. If what you're doing works, keep doing what you're doing. But sometimes when you go straight to the veggie diet, you don't have enough nutrients in your body sometimes, okay? Like you've seen some people who are vegan, vegetarian, and they look sick. Balance is everything, okay? And for some of us, you're not supposed to be strictly vegetarian. You're supposed to probably eat meat occasionally. It's just where you source your meat from, okay? So if you're not on a strict diet for religious reasons or anything like that, and you're just like, hey, I'm on my spiritual journey, so I have to eat clean, understand that it doesn't always mean you're the body type or that can just completely cut meat out. You might be that person that yes, you have to eat meat occasionally, but just make sure you're sourcing it from a place that is healthy meat for you. Okay, like a local butcher, or there's places that ship meat through the mail to you, and you can make it's non-GMO and none of the pump full of preservatives and byproducts and all of that stuff. It can be healthy. The reason I bring that up is because sometimes when you're healing and you're sensitive, all of that could be because your vitamin levels are completely off, especially during the fall and winter seasons. Okay, I don't know what it is about the body, but you tend to typically be low in iron and vitamin D. And when you're low in iron and vitamin D, that stuff can lead to what feels like severe depression. And matter of fact, if you research it, you'll see it's called Seasonal Affective Disorder. Right? And the first letters of all those words, Seasonal Affective Disorder, spelled SAD. And during the fall and winter months, we tend to fall into states of depression more easily, right? Because it plays into the sun. We're not getting enough sunshine. We're mostly indoors. For some of us, we're in cold areas and we don't go out much. Our activity level decreases. You might tend to crave a lot of sugars and carbs, and overall your entire sense of well-being can feel like it's just sloping, and that you're depressed or that you're just messed up. And as I was healing, I had to keep tabs on when I felt down or depressed and monitor what I ate. And that's when I realized that every time during the fall and winter times, it was always easier for me to feel like I was in a state of depression, because seasonal affective disorder is a real thing. Okay? It actually, the inability you have to get as much sunlight as spring and summer actually affects your brain. So you're over here thinking you're just messed up, you can't get life right, you haven't moved the needle, and it's not your fault. Okay? If you're a sensitive person, you're sensitive to earth changes, your earth being, natural earth being, born here as an earth being, you are affected by everything in nature. And when you don't get enough sunlight, natural sunlight, you go into depressed states, especially if you work in an environment where you're always behind the walls. You don't have a window. You don't go for walks on your lunch break. It's cold. You haven't seen the sun in so long because there's an overcast. All of these things can affect the way your brain operates and causes you to have physical symptoms that are the same as deep depressions. So don't always think it's you not getting it right or being messed up. Sometimes you're just physically affected by what's going on all around you. I wanted to share that with you because it's that time. It's that time of year where it's easy to fall into a depression, and before you know it, it's got a handle on you, and now you have to dig yourself out of it. All right? So I'm going to read. I found some information online. As always, you know my theory. Get multiple perspectives. That's all you need to do. Don't take sides with any one thing or anyone. Just get as much perspective as you can on information, and just keep yourself open to building on it, right? And letting it be something that informs you later and grows with you and gives you many ways to look at life and things. So let's look at a couple of these sites I found, and I will tell you the information on this seasonal affective disorder. Okay, So this is drax.com. As always, I'll link everything below so you can read it for yourself. This is an article by Caceres Munoz. And Caceres says, do your energy levels plummet once the summer months are over? Does your motivation to socialize with friends and family or even leave the house disappear when the sun does? And do you feel more normal when springtime and more daylight hours return? You might be suffering from seasonal affective disorder. The winter blues are well known and quite common. After all, these months come packed with a lot of holidays and can be emotionally draining. Combine that with minimal time in the sunshine, especially if you work in an office, and cold weather that seems to scream, stay home and get in a blanket. And it's no wonder that people tend to be a bit antisocial and grumpy from November until April. For some people, the winter blues are more than just curling up with Netflix for a few weekends in a row. Those who suffer from seasonal affective disorder actually experience a type of depression that rears its head during certain seasons. So if it's already feeling like that's you, keep listening, take notes. So what is seasonal affective disorder? SAD is a form of clinical depression that comes and goes in a seasonal pattern. It's also referred to as winter depression because it's usually the time when symptoms become more pronounced and noticeable. This bout of depression begins and ends around the same time each year. Millions of Americans suffer from SAD in its strictest form each year, and it seems to affect women more than men. SAD affects people from September to April, with peak times occurring in December, January, and February. For most people, their first winter experiencing seasonal affective disorder will occur between the ages of 18 and 30 years old, though a change in location, such as a major move later in life, can bring on the symptoms. Okay, keep in mind, this is the important part. What causes seasonal affective disorder? Researchers aren't sure what causes SAD, but it is a type of major depressive disorder. SAD patients can be just as depressed as those suffering from other forms of depression. This is a serious condition. While the exact reason for SAD aren't clear yet, it's believed that a vitamin D deficiency and a lack of sunlight keep a part of the brain, the hypothalamus, from working properly, leading to a disruption of circadian rhythms. When our circadian rhythms are out of whack, it can affect our levels of melatonin and serotonin. In people with SAD, melatonin, the hormone that makes us feel sleepy, might be produced in higher levels, leading to increased feelings of lethargy. On the other hand, serotonin levels decrease. Serotonin is a hormone that affects mood and appetite. Not having enough serotonin is linked to depression. Because seasonal affective disorder seems to be more common in women than men, being female is a risk factor. Additionally, there seems to be a genetic predisposition to seasonal affective disorder, as it often runs in families. So do you notice that about people in your family? That around the winter times, they get more cranky, edgy, depressed, sad? Might be genetic. Unsurprisingly, seasonal affective disorder is so tied to sunlight, location makes a difference. SAD is more common among people who live far north or south of the equator, thanks to abbreviated daylight winter hours and longer days during summer months. So, let's go into the symptoms. Seasonal affective Disorder symptoms vary from person to person. Generally, symptoms might start out mild and become more severe during the peak winter months of December through February. They start to ease up once sunnier spring days begin emerging. People suffering from SAD experience a decrease in energy, trouble sleeping, a loss of interest in activities, difficulty concentrating, depressive feelings, a decreased sex drive, appetite or weight gain changes. Now there's this other side. I found some more symptoms, so I wanted to list these now. So this is from a different site. Some of the symptoms include sad, anxious, or empty feelings, feelings of hopelessness, guilt, worthlessness, or helplessness, loss of interest or pleasure in activities you used to enjoy, fatigue and decreased energy, difficulty concentrating, remembering details, and making decisions, thoughts of death and suicide. That's a big one. That's a big one, because depending on how sensitive you really are to this time of season, you could be going through having suicidal thoughts, and you're thinking you're unable to cope, and you don't even realize it has a lot to do with the fact that you're not getting enough sun or you don't have enough nutrients. So sometimes the fix, it's not always simple, but your diet and your ability to retain nutrients and get sunlight, it plays a big part in how you come out of depressive states. So just keep that in mind. Oversleeping, overeating, particularly with a craving for carbohydrates. Weight gain, social withdrawal, which feels like you want to hibernate. Difficulty sleeping, lack of appetite, irritability, and agitation. So those were just a couple additional stuff I found. So going back to the other site. Sugar addiction and cravings for carbs and other comfort foods are also common in people with seasonal affective disorder. That's me. I can't get enough bread and crackers and pasta, and so it's a real thing, man. It can be difficult to determine if a person is suffering from traditional depression or if it's SAD. The telltale sign is when you begin experiencing these depressive feelings. Usually the feelings begin in September, are at their worst during the peak winter months, and start easing up in March or April. A diagnosis will often not be made until 2 to 3 consecutive winter seasons with the symptoms. Health professionals will evaluate that you've had depression that begins and ends in a specific season every year, no episodes of depression during other seasons, and more seasons of depression than seasons without depression. Your doctor will probably do a physical exam, which might include lab testing, to rule out any other health problems, and a psychological evaluation. So that's the best thing to do. Pay attention to when it happens. Pay attention to when it's lifting. What I do is, and I asked my guys for help with this when I kind of found out that I was on that timeline of feeling depressed. I asked my guys, okay, well, what do I do? Because listen, I play doctor to myself, okay? When you know yourself and you start to trust your instincts and trust your guidance, the guidance is for everything: relationships, work, school, your health, right? Anything you're going through, you can tap into your guidance to help you. It doesn't have to be for just the big things or just the little things. You use your guides for every part of you that's going to bring you back into balance. And when I realized this, I asked my guys, what do I need to do? They told me 2 things. During the summer months, get as much sun as you can, because your body, your skin stores that up and you use it up throughout the winter. So you have to get as much sun as you can during the spring and summer times to carry you over into the winter season when there's not that much sunlight. And even if you're in a place where you're like, look, it's sunny every day, it's still the type of rays that emit from the sun that are not always hitting the earth at that time. Okay? So it's the type of light, the spectrum of light that's coming off the sun that's also very important. And some of those light frequencies decrease during the winter time. So even though you're like, hey, where I am it's sunny all the time, yes, it may be sunny all the time, but the particular frequency of light might not be as prevalent during the winter times as it would be in the summer. So they told me, get a lot of sun. They also told me, eat everything that you can tolerate from the earth, all the root vegetables. So I do a lot of sweet potatoes, bell peppers, kale, green bananas. Green bananas are very high in iron. The content of green bananas are very high. And just look up a recipe of how to cook it. I usually just cut both the tips off the ends, throw it in some water, a little bit of salt, boil it. When the skin splits, it's ready. Or use a fork, check if it's fork tender. But green bananas are really good for iron. Mushrooms are good for vitamin D. So I eat a lot of mushrooms with everything. I supplement with vitamin D. And I also take a multivitamin so that I can balance out my nutrients during the winter months. So that's important. You gotta stay active. Active. You do your workouts. If you're somebody, you're like, hey, I like running on the beach, in the spring and summer times. It doesn't matter. Bundle up, go out to the beach if it's cold and still go for your walk. Okay? Do a lot of workout routines at home, but stay active, keep your legs moving. All of that stuff's important. All right. Treating SAD with natural remedies. There are several natural prescription-free remedies you can try for seasonal affective disorder. Get a light box. If your outdoor hours are limited during the winter months, a light box might be a worthwhile investment. In fact, the majority of SAD patients see improvements in their disposition. Light therapy allows you to get exposure to bright, artificial light during the most difficult months. It's recommended that SAD patients use light therapy daily from the first signs of symptoms until the springtime when SAD resolves itself. Most people require between 15 to 30 minutes of therapy a day and will start feeling improvements within 2 to 4 days, with the full improvement happening within 2 weeks. Because seasonal affective disorder symptoms return quickly once light therapy stops, remaining consistent with treatment during the winter months is crucial. It's also often recommended that light treatment occur in the morning to prevent difficulties falling asleep later in the evening. Light therapy boxes are available without a prescription, but they can come with side effects, like headaches or eye strain. Because of UV exposure, it's also recommended that you see a health provider who specializes in light therapy to ensure you get the right amount of light and filter out dangerous UV rays. I will link in the description below a site I found that gives you the light boxes that are out there, how much they cost. Read it up for yourself if you're interested in that. It's literally just like a light box that you sit under and get light. Okay, I imagine that's for really bad cases where you're like, you have no sun where you are. But I'll link that below so you can check it out yourself. Remember, do research, right? And choose something you're guided to and that works best for you. All right. Number 2, keep exercising. I know it can be difficult enough to hit the gym when you're feeling great, never mind when you're not up to the par. But regular exercise has been proven to help with traditional types of depression, and SAD is no different. Staying active increases the production of feel-good chemicals that can ease depressive feelings and even brain fog. In one study, just 30 minutes of walking on a treadmill for 10 consecutive days, that's the key, consecutive days, was enough to produce a significant reduction in depression. Research also suggests that the frequency and consistency of exercising, rather than the duration or intensity, has the most positive effect. Let me read that again. Research also suggests that the frequency and consistency of exercising, rather than the duration or intensity, has the most positive effect. You don't need to run a marathon or start up CrossFit to reap the healing benefits of exercise. Join a group fitness class, rev up the treadmill, or practice yoga. It all helps. Trust me. Listen, when I'm in here and I don't feel like going outside, I'm like, oh, this might seem weird, but I'm just like, all right, Kate, just pretend you're just like back in either a lockdown or you're locked up. What can you use in here to work out? I'll find everything. I don't go to a gym. Okay? I'm not putting my money there because that's just not what I'm guided to do. But I pick up a few little weights. You can even find weights at like go to a thrift store, right? A Goodwill. There's a whole lot of items and exercise stuff that you can find discounted, and you can just work out at home. Use your couch. You could do push-ups on your couch. You could do leg lifts. There's a lot of things you could do at home. You don't have to think that I have to have the gym money and I can't afford the memberships. Listen, walking is free. And that is the best exercise you can do because it works every single muscle. Okay? It's the most engaging thing you can do for your body is to walk. So even if you don't have all the fancy equipment and stuff like that, just go for a walk. 10 minutes. Just make it consistent so that you don't burn out in one workout and then you can't work out for the rest of the week. Just consistent little doses over time can increase your mental health. All right, number 3, add a vitamin D supplement. Vitamin D, or the sunshine vitamin, has been linked to depression. Patients with seasonal affective disorder often have low levels of the vitamin. While scientists aren't sure why that's the cause, it's worth checking with your doctor to make sure your vitamin D levels are up to par. Because most U.S. adults have some type of deficiency in the vitamin, adding a supplement could help you feel better and even improve bone health and boost your immune system. In addition, there is some evidence that using St. John's wort together with phototherapy works even better as a way to beat the winter blues. Number 4, get outside. When there is a ray of sunlight during the cold, dark months, take advantage. Sleep with curtains and blinds open to get in any glimmer of sunshine in the morning. Break up your workday with an early afternoon walk to soak up some vitamin D naturally. Bundle up and try to get as much natural light as possible. Your brain and body will both thank you for it. Bonus points if you can squeeze your workouts in outside, no matter if it's an early morning stroll solo or a weekend game of fetch with the dog. So just get out there, just get sun. And you'll always hear me say drink the sun. If you can't be home when the sun is up because you got to be at work, put some glass jars on your windowsill. Let them get the sunshine. Key thing is, though, from my experience, don't drink it at night when you come home, because sometimes it can make you feel active. But experiment with that. But like, I would drink it the next day or the next morning. Right? I just rotate like that. Put it out in the day when I'm not home, then drink it the next morning before I leave. Number 5, talk it out. Cognitive behavioral therapy is a type of psychotherapy that helps people change unhelpful or unhealthy habits of thinking, feeling, and behaving. It can help alter your way of thinking, focusing on positive solutions instead of saying, forget it, I'm skipping those dinner plans I made. While cognitive behavioral therapy is useful for many types of depression and mental health disorders, there's renewed interest in using it as a treatment for seasonal affective disorder. In fact, a study published in the American Journal of Psychiatry found CBT could be more helpful to SAD patients than light therapy in the long run. The study tracked 177 people with seasonal affective disorder as they were given either light therapy or cognitive behavioral therapy designed for SAD over 6 weeks, and then checked in with them over the next 2 winters. During the first winter, light therapy and CBT worked equally as well in reducing depression symptoms, but by the second check-in, CBT pulled into the lead. In the group of patients who received CBT to treat their seasonal affective disorder, 27.3% had their depression come back in the following winter, while 45.6% of those who received light therapy did. For those who were treated with CBT but still experienced a return of seasonal affective disorder, their symptoms were milder than those who were treated with the light therapy. The difference, according to Kelly Rohan, a lead author of the study, might be that CBT teaches people skills and coping mechanisms they can employ at any time, while light therapy requires spending a certain amount of time daily to reap the effects, while not feeling in control of emotions. So basically they're saying the light therapy by itself won't help you. It will, but it would help you also if you're able to talk this out with people, because it does mimic depression so much. When you're going through depressed states, you always want to make sure you have a good support system around you. So listen, healing is a spectrum, right? So it's the talk therapy, it's the diet, it's the exercise, it's the nutrients, it's the self-care, it's the balancing your time, balancing how much of yourself you're giving to other people. All of those things combined help to make you a well-rounded individual, and your well-being being a priority. So combine all of it and heal yourself. All right, next one. Eat a healthy diet. It all comes back to food, doesn't it? While people with SAD crave comfort foods, starchy carbs, sweet treats, and more, eating that way ensures you'll look and feel worse. Instead, focus on SAD-busting healing diet. Lots of lean protein, leafy greens, and fish will keep hormones in check and boost serotonin levels. When you do get the urge for carbs, choose complex whole grain varieties like whole grain pasta and bread instead of nutrition deficient white carbohydrates. I also eat a lot of salmon. So during this winter month, I make sure I consume a lot of salmon because those omega fatty acids, those omega-3s and vitamin D. Salmon is really good for that. Reach out for help. Depression, no matter the type, can feel extremely isolating. Reaching out to friends and family and establishing a support network can help ease the burden. If you suspect you're at risk for seasonal affective disorder, be sure to reach out to your health professional. Okay, so that's it. I hope this helps you to understand it a little bit more, that, sometimes it's not just you being messed up and can't cope and can't figure out life. Sometimes you're just affected by the environment, by your diet, okay? And depression is real. It affects everybody. There's nothing wrong with you if you're experiencing depressive states. What is wrong, though, and what might be a setback is if you're experiencing all this stuff and you don't know how to heal yourself, and therefore you're just sitting there trying to cope with it. If you know something's wrong with you, it's your responsibility as a sovereign being to move in the direction of healing yourself. Okay? Make sure if you want to go more in depth with the information I presented, all the links are below. Check them out. Maybe this, help to inform you if you didn't know about seasonal affective disorder. And if you did, maybe it just reminded you of all the things you need to do for yourself during this time to stay in balance. So I'm going to leave it there. I love you. I love you. I love you. Okay? I appreciate you so much. Keep being the best version of yourself. Keep being on your healing journey. Okay? Stay balanced in your state of being. Don't try to go too up or too down with everything that's going on around you. Spend some time with yourself and listen to your guidance. Sometimes we hear other people's voice so much we forget what our own voice sounds like. Don't forget to check in with yourself as you go checking in on everybody else. All right. I love you. I love you. I love you. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
From PA City, I pack my back on Lagos City. I no go any university, but the boy right now a global citizen. Yeah, and I rest my case for the level where I did. Me I no get time at all. Me I dey thank my God 'cause he bring me here today. Me I no get strength to shout to you. So me say the mood, it's alright. Set the mood, it's alright. Set the mood, it's alright. All I wanna know is bankala. Set the mood, yo, it's alright. Set the mood, it's alright. Set the mood, it's alright. All I wanna hear is a bankala. I got many things where I want to talk to. Many things I want to talk to. But I rest my mind. Think while I dey push my grind. I got no time for no negative vibe. If you hurt me, my guy, me I'll leave you all to God. You. Set the mood, it's alright. Set the mood, it's alright. Set the mood, it's alright. All I wanna know is bankala. Set the mood, yo, it's alright. Set the mood, it's alright. Set the mood, it's alright. All I wanna hear is a bankala.
That was deeper than y'all thought. Or maybe it's just me. I'll be like, woo! I didn't even expect to go that far with it. But for real, y'all, what is your goal? Don't wait still, but what is the goal? Figure out your goal and be realistic about it. Be realistic, okay? And follow that goal. And the goal may change as you're going through your goal, but keep an open mind. You know what I'm saying? Whew. I think I'm done. Yep, I'm done.
So we say the mood, it's alright. Set the mood, it's alright. Set the mood, things where I want to go. Yeah, yeah. Many things I want to go. Yeah. But I rest my mind. Think while I dey push my grind. I got no time for no negative vibe. If you hurt me, my guy, me, I'll leave you all to God. You. Set the mood, it's alright. Set the mood, it's alright. Set the mood, it's alright. All I wanna know is bankala. Set the mood, yo, it's alright. Set the mood, it's alright. Set the mood, it's alright. All I wanna hear is a bankala.
It's STG.
Oh my God. My mistakes are no worse than yours just because I'm a woman. My mistakes are no worse than yours just because I'm a woman.
One cent, Ricardo. 1 cent, Ricardo.